ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. Y'all better listen up. This sports talking tough. So if you got a cup, go on and raise it up. I'll raise one with you as we talk about the sports. It's raining stats and rumors. Let us give you the report. This is First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of First and 12 Ounces. Hey, week 2, we survived. Well, some teams survived. Our team survived. Hey, it's good to be 1-1. Hey, we're in the win column. Look out! Look out! Woo!
Eating
Hey,
W's
Mr.
over here. Hey,
Yes.
we're eating W's over here. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but we're give me that.
Hey, yes, we got that Jameis Winston victory feeling right now. I mean, it's great. It's great. We're in the win column finally. But hey, let's dive right into it. We'll start off with the Texas game. Hey, 38-7. In Arch's own words, he said, "Hey," they said, "How do you think this game felt?" He said, "Hey, man, I felt sloppy. Felt like I still played sloppy. I got to clean stuff up." He said, I had playmakers that make plays for me, and everything worked out to the way it should be." I mean, he went 19 for 30 for 294 yards and 4 touchdowns. Those 4 touchdowns all happened in under 5 minutes. He also had an outstanding rushing touchdown, which is another reason why everybody's the hype's on around this kid is because he can throw it and he can run it. So that was a big answer to some of the critics there. And hey, how about our boy Parker? Shines again.
What a game for him.
It's huge. Huge.
Again, shines yet again on a big, well, not a big stage, but hey, first game at DKR, he gets 4 receptions for 128 yards and 2 touchdowns. That 83-yard one where he just put on the Jets and it was like, whoa, white boy can roll, boy. He had some wheels on him and he took off. And then, hey, how about our tight end? He also had two receptions for 52 yards. Both of those catches ended up being touchdowns. I mean, not too shabby. I got 2 catches. They both ended up in the end zone. We'll take that. Running game, I want to see more out of the running game. Like I did say, Arch did run one in for a touchdown. Baxter had 13 carries for 64 yards. Wisner, of course, didn't play. Gibson stepped in. He had some good carries, but he also had a fumble at the end of the game in the red zone, which you never want to see, even when you're up big like they were. But you don't want to see anyone fumbling the ball whatsoever. But hey, how about this defense? We've been talking about the defense from the get go. They had a good game against Ohio State. They did give up 2 touchdowns. They gave up a touchdown in this one, but they also had 4 turnovers, which was huge, huge. I mean, outside of that, they pretty much shined. I know some of our DBs were kind of getting picked on and pointed out because there were some times that there was coverages that the quarterback just didn't deliver the ball when they got beat on route. So that's got to get cleaned up. Hey, but that's what happens in the first few weeks. I was happy with what I saw. What do y'all think about what y'all saw?
Yeah, I mean, for me, look, I mean, obviously it's a comfortable win, 38-7. Arch's stat line looks great looking at it. I talked about this on Twitter. I talked to you about it, Pete. It seems like Texas right now is in that kind of mode that I felt Bama was in last year. It's like very big play oriented. It's like once the big play hits, they're cruising. But it's like they need that big play. I think they went 3 and out, and I think 5 and out the second possession. And then like that, it's they get the defense gets another stop, touchdown, interception, touchdown in 3 plays. So it's like, but once it hits big. Arch early on, again, I thought he looked uncomfortable. I think it's a pressure thing. I think I'm not really blaming him. I think there's so much pressure that he just lets it get to him. And I guess that's probably expected with the amount of hype he's getting, right? But like I said, I mean, once he gets it going, he's going. But even later in the game, it's just like some throws he just doesn't seem quite comfortable yet. I mean, I'm sure that'll come with time, right? The kid's still in his second game as a starter. In the first game, you could really chalk up because it was such a big atmosphere, right? But overall, obviously the defense is great. I mean, it's San Jose State. Like, I never expect the defense to struggle against them. I think Texas has a very elite defense. I think the defense is way better than the offense. But obviously it's week 2. It was a 38-7 win. So it's kind of hard to sit here and really be like, oh, well, they have a lot to worry about. So yeah, man, I think if Arch can get a little more comfortable, I think the product will look a lot better. And I mean, the score looked good as it was. So that's kind of my feelings on it.
Yeah, I mean, I like the take on that. They're kind of volatile on offense. That once they get a big play, it kind of opens it up. But It seems like they get stuff. I think the truth of the matter is like nobody's going to care what Texas is doing until they play another opponent that people see as worthy of it, right? Like all you're going to get right now is just negative. Like Arch looked out of rhythm at times. The defense, like just you're going to see negative stuff because that's what happens when you lose game one and then you play. You don't have a game against somebody that people care about. Nobody's going to give a shit what Texas is doing. I thought they looked like they should have looked against San Jose State. Um, nothing was shocking in it. I watched most of the game. I ended up flipping it once it got out of control because I just wasn't going to sit there and watch a blowout if I didn't have to. But, I mean, yeah, I thought Texas looked good. I thought Parker Livingston looked really good. I still think Arch has got some stuff to clean up. Same with the defense. I agree with Cole. I think the defense is better than the offense. But, I mean, I think the defense is a top 5 group in the country. I think Texas is going to be fine. But, again, nobody's really going to give a shit outside of Texas fans until they play somebody that's not Sam Houston State or San Jose State or UTEP, right? Like, that's just reality.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. And I mean, outside of the one red zone fumble, the red zone wasn't an issue this week. But I mean, again, different competition as well. You're not playing. He's not seeing defenses that we saw last week. So that's still something that I watch heavy is what Sark's going to do in that red zone. But outside of that, I mean, the 3 forced fumbles, which was I thought were huge, all came from different defenders, which was awesome. I thought Ty Anthony Smith had 2 of the forced fumbles, but he was only credited 1. Trey Moore got the other one. But I don't know if y'all saw that Trey Moore fumble recovery. He picked it up and he went in and he thought he scored because he thought he put the ball over the pylon and he actually stepped out at the 1. That's why he didn't get the credit for a stupid score. And everyone was like, "Oh, he's gonna shoot himself in the foot for not running it through," because he could have got it in, but he just kind of did like that and then stepped out. I was like, "Oh man." But hey, let's move on to what Alabama did. I heard they put a little bit of points up on the board.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, a lot of talk about Alabama after Florida State. I think Bama was the most talked about team in any sport ever this past week. A lot of hate, a lot of Kalen DeBoer must go, a lot of Ty Simpson needs to be benched, which I think we all agreed that was ridiculous.
Yeah,
the Kalen DeBoer thing's a bigger conversation, but the Ty Simpson benching talk was just insane. Look, Bama did exactly what they needed to do. They came out on fire, intensity. Again, I'm not going to keep harping on it's ULM. We all know it's ULM. I'm just going to say what I have to say. Ty Simpson goes 17 of 17 for 226 and 3 touchdowns. Actually breaks an Alabama record. I think the record before was 16 of 16 was the best quarterback's ever done, playing X amount of snaps. O-line looked phenomenal, pushing people around. D-line looked phenomenal, pushing people around. Defense just flying to the ball with violent intentions. That's kind of what we expected from this defense in week 1, right? This defense has extreme talent and extreme speed, but at the end of the day, if you're not putting forth the effort, it won't show up on tape. An interesting thing that I thought, Austin Mack, after we went up 28-0, Austin Mack came in the second quarter. Apparently that was part of the plan. It was that he's going to get some second quarter reps with the ones while the game was still semi-competitive, I think was the thought. He comes in, scores a touchdown. Next drive, I think he came from one more drive, got a field goal, and then Ty Simpson came back in and scored another touchdown. Offense scored on every possession, 1 field goal, which was good to see because Connor Talty isn't a dominant field goal kicker. He's had a pretty up and down offseason, so he actually kicked a 53-yarder, and then they blew the play dead because the pass right before it ended up being, they thought it was incomplete, ended up being a catch, which is wild. I don't know if y'all saw that replay. Ball just bounces around. The dude's standing there with it in his hands. So then he had to kick another one, which was a 51. He made both of them. So that's good to see, right? Back-to-back 50-something yarders. Defense, 3 takeaways, 2 fumbles and interception. Justin Jefferson, 5th-year senior, he got one of the interceptions. Not the wide receiver for the Vikings, by the way. That LSU guy, not him. Different guy. Big players that stuck out to me was James Smith, defensive tackle. He's going to be that second D lineman with Tim Keenan all year. He played pissed. I mean, there's no way around it. Just bully ball the whole game. 4 tackles, 3 for a loss. Freshman Lancia Brooks got some playing time. He was kind of that wide receiver 3-4 spot. because Ryan Williams was out. He had 4 catches, 58 yards, and I think he had 1 run for like 7 yards. He did like an end around or something. Kevin Riley's a name that I think we're going to hear a lot of. So he was going into last week against Florida State. He was going to be our running back 4 behind Jam Miller, Richard Young, and Daniel Hill. However, obviously Jam Miller went out. Still didn't expect to see Riley much against Florida State, but he kind of was the guy with the most juice. This week, it stayed that way. He's a freshman, but he is the RB2 in that room when Jam comes back. He had 11 carries for 69 yards, 6 catches for 45 yards. The dude just flies. He's very explosive, very electric, and he has pretty good vision. He finds holes when it seems like there's nothing there. Jeremy Bernard is the alpha on offense, period. I think Ty Simpson's obviously the captain of the team, but I think Jeremy Bernard is the guy who's walking around like, hey, this is what we're doing. 3 catches, 67 yards, 2 touchdowns. So I kind of look for him to kind of step up as that leader all year. But I mean, look, all in all, again, it's ULM. I'll say that one last time. But I saw what I wanted to see out of this team. I think when they play at that intensity, they can beat anybody in this country. But you know, at the end of the day, you still gotta prove it. Let's see how they bounce back from this one. Like play ULM, and I'm not play ULM, play Wisconsin, and obviously Georgia 2 weeks after that. So that's that. Oh, and Keelan Russell, 2 touchdowns, by the way. All 3 Bama quarterbacks played, which was fun to see. So.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't really pay much attention to the Bama game once it got out of hand. I was like, all right, I'm like, this is kind of like it was with you guys with the Texas game. Once the game was put away, it was kind of like, all right, I don't need to watch this anymore. And then every time I turned around, I was like getting an update. Oh wait, they just scored again. They scored. I'm like, holy shit, what are they doing down there? All right, I guess that's what's happening again. What'd you think about it, Buddha?
I mean, it was on at the exact same time as the LSU game, so I watched 0 plays from it. I saw some highlights of Russell. I don't even know if it was a touchdown play, but I saw a highlight of him, and then I just saw Cole's text. And then I think the only interesting stat I saw, which I don't know if it's true or not, was Bama hadn't scored more than 70 points in like 20 years.
That is a fact.
I don't think they ever scored more than 66 with Saban.
Yeah, it was 66 was the record with Saban.
Yeah, so that's an impressive feat, right? Again, it is ULM, kind of similar to Texas. Like nobody's going to give a shit what Bama does until they play that Georgia game. Right, they could boat race Wisconsin next week, and people are still you can't get the taste out of your mouth. So
yeah.
But how do you want to bounce back from a game? You beat a team 73-0.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I mean for me too, like you know, one thing that was nice is to see a lot of freshmen get a lot of playing time. Like I'm talking like third quarter. Look, Ackland Deer, a running back, y'all heard me talk about when Jam went down. I thought he'd have a bigger role. He ran like a 50-yard touchdown run late in the 4th quarter. I mean, look, it's good to see the bounce back, especially when you're a paranoid fan like I am, and you're sitting here looking at the last time Florida State beat Bama, ULM beat them in the same year, and then you watch all the early upsets yesterday, and you're waiting for that 7:00 kickoff, and you're like, is this gonna fucking happen again? Like, no way, right? So, end of the day, it was good to see.
I can't tell you how many times I heard that from Cole. But Pete, the last time we lost to Florida State, we lost to ULM too. And I'm just like, bro, stop. Like, stop.
Hey, it's facts.
Speaking about, fans not really caring outside of the program, we got some fans in LSU kind of over caring, or overreacting. That's how I'm going to pass it to you with what we talked about right before we got on. What's going on in Baton Rouge?
I mean, I think, like, I'm trying to just remind myself that Twitter's a stupid cesspool full of dumbass idiots. If you just went read Twitter, you would think LSU lost yesterday. You would think LSU lost the game. And you would think LSU is 0-2 and it looks like the sky is falling. LSU did not have an offensive performing that's worth making the headlines in the news. They didn't play pathetic on offense. It looked kind of black. Part of that is you lost your red zone target. So LSU went 5 for 5 in the red zone. They kicked 3 field goals, though. But your red zone target was out. It looks like he's only going to be out maybe 2 or 3 weeks. It's kind of the early reports. And then you lost your center on the first play of the game. Snap 1, your center has a high ankle. And then you struggled. They got pressure up the middle. It looks like he could have played last night if the game was tight. They decided to not play him. I know all the pictures of him in a boot. The boot to stabilize it. He was in uniform the whole second quarter, snapping the ball. If he had to come back in, he'd have played. I'm confident Braylon Moore plays against Florida. LSU's defense looked phenomenal. Like, that's kind of getting lost in the shuffle with, like, that they scored 23 points. The defense looked as good as it did against Clemson. Like, it looked identical almost. They just fly around, they hit, they make all the right decisions. Late in the game, they started putting in, when it was 20-0, they put in some backups and they had a busted coverage. Other than that, they had pitched the shutout. I think with 6 minutes left, they had given up 88 total yards. I mean, it's an elite defense, or at least it looks like it's trending that way. LSU still managed to rush for 100 yards, which, if you followed LSU last year, they could not run the ball. So back-to-back weeks with 100 yards rushing, to me, is saying something. All in all, I'm all good. But again, if you look at LSU's Twitter, right, it is the sky's falling, LSU's horrible, Bob, like, it's a weird game you played. You're coming off the biggest win in 5 years against Clemson. It's a nobody. Everybody's like, well, it just, Nuss didn't play his best game. He kind of looked blah, right? Like, he just missed some throws. Like, it just looked like they kind of sleptwalk. But I think the positive is they're not going to sleepwalk next week. The place is going to be juiced against Florida. And you still never at any point thought LSU was going to lose that game. I never at any point was like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. Which, against Nichols last year, I had moments where I was like, uh-oh, we might be in trouble here. Again, LSU beats Florida this week. Nobody talks about Louisiana Tech. It's just an insane world where, like, you get a little bit of success and then LSU's poisoned by a lot of LSU fan base is poisoned with 2019 disease, where they think when you're a good team, you should just beat everybody you line up against and never have a bad game. And that's just not how football works. It's not how football's ever worked outside of that year. Every other national championship team has had games where they just didn't play terrific in. It happens. I mean, look, Georgia did it also yesterday. Georgia beat Austin Peay 28-6. Like, it happens. My confidence level, identical level it was entering the game Saturday. Still love LSU. Still like our odds. Still think we beat Florida. Like, I don't know. People got to relax a little bit.
Yeah, I totally get that. And I hear you on the 2019 point, because that's one thing that I've been telling Cole too. I'm like, hey, look, they got a big win, but I figure y'all are going to win this game. This game was not no worry whatsoever. I was like, LSU's going to handle Tech without a doubt. But I was like, some of these fans are just thinking that it's over with. They're going to Joe Burrow's back. He's going to light it up. Scores are going to be outrageous. It's all going to come down. And then after last night's game, I'm like, but it's not like, I'm like, that doesn't mean the season's over with, because y'all didn't score 7,000 points against LA Tech. You got to think he's probably being conservative with what he's doing as far as getting other play. You get two players injured that soon in the game, you're not going to call everything you can to risk another injury. Also,
Yeah, your best offensive lineman got hurt on play one, and they opted to not put him back in because you're playing Louisiana Tech. If they'd have been playing Florida and that happened, Braylon Moore would have played in the second quarter. He'd have been back in the game with a taped up ankle. Like, people got to just relax. I also think this, though. I think LSU's going to play a ton of games this year that are like 27-13, 24-14. I think they're going to play a lot of these, like, NFL score games. It looks like that's the method Kelly's trying to take this year of, like, we're going to hold the ball because we can get stops on defense. We're going to take strategic shots. We don't care if we score 40. We're just trying to leave the game with a W. I think they play a lot of games this year that are like 24-17. A lot of NFL scores, in my opinion.
got you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I again, like you, I didn't really watch the LSU game. I kept up with it on my phone. One thing, I did watch a quick, just a full game highlight on YouTube just to kind of get familiar with it. Nuss kind of, I guess I just, it seems like it's not what I expected. I don't know that it's bad with Nuss. It's just like, sometimes it's just, I feel like he's just missing throws that he didn't miss last year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just haven't watched enough. Obviously, I was at the Clemson game. Like, I watched him make one of the best throws I've ever seen in my life with the touchdown that was called not a touchdown. But, I mean, look, again, like, I think kind of what Pete's saying, like, I think this game they probably played it pretty conservative. Like, okay, like, we're going to get the lead and we're just going to, like, win the game, right? Especially once Moore went down. It's like, let's not get any more injuries. Let's just get through this. It seems like it was a sloppy game. I
It
think
was.
you got nine penalties, 77 yards. Obviously, you probably want to cut that down, right? Um, Gave up 3 sacks. Again, I didn't watch the games. So I don't know how those 3 sacks played out. But at the end of the day, same thing like you said earlier. After the Florida game, nobody's gonna look back at the Louisiana Tech game and be like, "Oh well, they only beat Louisiana Tech 23-7." Kind of is what it is.
I'll touch on the Nuss thing. So Nuss has kind of had this the last 2 years. When he plays these inferior opponents, he has a little bit of big game hunting mentality. Where like kind of like when I play like NCAA 26, like when I'm playing FCS Southeast, I'm trying to run around, throw 60-yard bombs. He does that a little bit against these bad teams. Where against better defenses, he typically takes what they give him. But like last night, the 3 sacks, one of them that sticks out in my brain was like he ran around for like 4 seconds. Should have thrown the ball away, tried to make a hero play, and took a sack. Like,
yeah,
it's just something he does, and it's a negative, right? But good thing is, if you want to win a national title, you're not going to play those teams down the road, and you should better beat those teams even when he does it. So I take it with a grain of salt. Again, I don't love the 3 sacks. I don't love Nuss throwing a pick first drive, but again, I'm not flipping my mentality because we beat a team.
No. And I'm not saying you should. I mean,
While we're talking about LSU, I'll ask you on this just because of the tight play that happened with the team that they beat last week. Does Clemson's struggles with Troy make you second guess the way they looked against LSU? Is Clemson not that good, and that's why that happened, or does this take any shine off of that week 1 win?
No, I mean it didn't take any shine for me personally, right? Like again, LSU kind of played around with Louisiana Tech. Georgia played around with Austin Peay. It's a weird week in the season. I think Clemson drank a little bit of their own Kool-Aid, right? And I think LSU's really good, and I think Clemson's really good. I just think it's ultimately because once Clemson kind of like woke up in that game, they dominated them. Like when they woke up at halftime, that game, Clemson came out and it was over. It looked like it should have looked. So no, like Clemson playing a bad half against Troy doesn't make me change my opinion. It was a really weird Saturday. I think we talked about it earlier. It was just a weird football Saturday. Like Texas kind of played around with San Jose State in the first quarter, where it was like, what the fuck is going on today?
I'll tell you who didn't play around is the mighty fucking Crimson Tide. So I don't know what y'all talking about.
I
don't know what y'all talking about.
Y'all like one of the only teams that didn't really, like at any point. Because like Texas, the final score was Texas kind of fucked around for about 8 minutes of that game. The first couple drives, it was like, here we go. And then like Ole Miss and Kentucky kind of like that, where it was like, how is this happening? Like the Duke Illinois game was very similar. Like it was just like, ugh. It was just a weird day.
Ole Miss Kentucky was a good game. A good game. Ole Miss had their fucking hands full that whole game. While we're talking about the upsets, I'll go ahead and get on a little rant that I had coming up just about quarterback play. After week 1, there was a bullseye on Mr. Arch Manning. I hope to see or hope to hear the criticism in that bullseye pointed at some of these quarterbacks this past week, as in Lagway looks like shit. Completely like shit. Sam Levitt looks like shit. Also lost. Klubnik looked like shit, but ended up winning the game. Mr. Bryce Underwood looked like shit. Lost the game. Going back on that, Lagway played against an inferior squad, looked like shit, and lost. Put him against Ohio State. Let's see how he looks. Underwood, I mean, it's OU. He lost to OU. I mean, I'll give OU no credit on anything. Y'all both know that. But still, he had all this hype coming in, and what did he throw for? He threw for 142 yards, 9 completions only. 9 completions, that's it. And everyone was saying, it looks like Sark doesn't trust Arch. Well, I can tell you right now, that Michigan staff does not trust Underwood because he only had 24 attempts the entire game. Only completed 9 of them. Klubnik looked like shit. Like, I want to see some of that criticism now go get passed around. Because it was all heavy on Arch about, oh, he's not this, he's not that. Well, guess what? All these quarterbacks that we've talked about beforehand, hey, Klubnik included, I played Klubnik to win a Heisman. He looked like shit. We all were big on Sam Levitt after what he did in the college football playoffs. He lost to Mississippi State.
Look,
Yeah,
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I disagree with your opinion on this. But I think I'd also tell you this: you can want one hand, shit in the other, and see which one comes first.
Oh yeah, you're not.
Because,
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. They're not gonna
well,
criticize anybody outside of it.
I would also tell you this: that's like part. Well, that's like part of having like a guy that's preseason Heisman. That there's like the rumblings of like he might be the best college football player to ever play. Paul dumbass Einball makes the statement that he's the best college football player since Tim Tebow, and we've seen him. It was the first time we ever saw him before we ever really seen him play football. Like I don't disagree. Lagway's been hot dookie water. Levitt was disgustingly bad against Mississippi State. A lot of quarterbacks struggled. I just think the difference is like those guys weren't getting talked about like they were the second coming of Jesus all off season. And Arch had a pretty good day. And again, if Arch goes out and dominates, Florida, right? All the talk will go right back to what it was. But yeah, I don't disagree with you. I just think that's how expectations work in the media.
yeah, I don't disagree with you at all. For me, I think Underwood's a bust. I've been saying that. I hope he is at least. I think he's a piece of shit. Lagway's a guy I was high on. He hadn't looked good at all. I think I had Lagway, I think fifth in my Heisman rankings. The one that surprised me the most, is Klubnik, obviously. But no, I agree with Bruda 100%. Like, I think the reason that Arch is getting so much attention is because he's got all the attention all offseason, right? Like, I mean, I think most people had him at least top three Heisman favorites, if not the favorite. So unfortunately, I think that's just how it's going to be. That's just something Texas fans are going to have to swallow, is that he's going to be under a microscope all year. I mean, the dude threw for 300 yards, and I'm sitting here saying he looked uncomfortable in the first quarter. But again, that's just the way it is. I mean, and look, objectively, I think he did look uncomfortable in the first quarter, but nonetheless, yeah, no, I mean, I think that's just gonna continue all year whenever there's that much hype around him. Not that it's coming from him.
Yeah, oh no, absolutely.
Also, I want to talk about this. You had mentioned that Florida played an inferior opponent. I don't disagree there either. The USF might, as we sit today, have the best resume in the country. USF has played a ranked team at home and beat the brakes off of them, and then went on the road to a place that a lot of people consider a very difficult place to play, and kind of physically manhandled Florida. And even went down in the fourth quarter and still made the plays. Like, USF feels like a team that nobody wants to play. I never will feel bad for Billy Napier, but I will say, talk about a shit draw going on their schedule. You get a loss to South Florida, and it's the best South Florida team in 20 years. Like, it's their best group since the 2000.
And look, let's not forget, like, South Florida took Bama to the ropes the last 2 years. I had to watch it. 2 years ago, dude, like, I think the final was 17-3. That game was competitive the whole game. And then last year, obviously, it was, like, super close until the fourth quarter, and Bama just threw up 3 touchdowns really late. And made, final was 42-16, I think. But, like, that game was a one-possession game going into the fourth quarter. I actually think they might have had the lead. This USF program, they might have something cooking. Look, will they be the 12th seed in the playoffs?
I think right now they got to be the clear favorite.
Oh yeah, I would think so.
Also, their coach is incredible at getting into these games against P4 schools and just muddying them up, making them ugly. They like to run. I know in the broadcast they kept bringing up, like, they've only run 53 plays, and usually they like to be at about 85. I think he just likes to get into these games and just go like, how can we just spin the tires around and we'll just keep throwing body punches and make you try to press. And Lagway, I feel like Lagway's a good runner, and he just doesn't want to do it. He just doesn't want to run. I think, but Napier's. I don't know how they. Do you see their statement that they're like, we're sticking with Napier?
It was a fake statement.
I think
it's a fake.
Was it?
Yeah. It was a fake. It was a fake statement. I went back and looked at it. It was from a fake site. Yeah, I was like, that's fucking horrible.
It's believable that they would do some shit like that, because how is he still the coach there?
Well, here's the thing too. Is, I mean, Florida this year and last. I mean, their schedule is fucking insane, dog. And so for them to lose this one, like, this is one of the ones that they probably looked at and they were probably like, we have to win this game. And here they are. I'm pulling up their schedule right now so I can
No, yeah,
rattle
no,
it
I
off.
got it. I got it up. I got it up. So next week they got LSU at
LSU,
LSU at Miami.
dude.
Then they host Texas, and then at Texas A&M, and then they got the Cinderella of the SEC currently in Mississippi State going to Florida, like, and then Georgia, like
Well,
it's.
it don't stop there, dude. Then they go Kentucky, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and then Florida State. I mean, could we be looking at a Florida team that loses 8 games?
Look, I'm gonna put it like this:
Hey,
they play
but
LSU this weekend. If LSU beats them, which I think myself and I mean LSU right now is like a 9.5 point favorite on FanDuel. It's find me 5 more wins on Florida's schedule that you're confident about to get them to bowl eligible. Like I just can't do it because I said before the year started I thought Texas fired Billy Napier, and I've
I was about to
never
bring
been
it
more
up.
confident in a take than I am with that take. The only concern I have with that take is he may get fired before that game.
That was about to get there. I was like, it's leading up to what you called in our
Dude,
first in
I don't
our
know.
first
I don't know
preseason
that
pod.
there's 5 wins on this schedule total.
That's what I'm saying.
Get fuck 6.
Now look,
It's gonna
if
be.
they beat LSU and they look great, I might change my opinion. But like, I just don't see watching the Florida team I watched that like I don't see Napier can win a big game. That's like my thing. Like, can Napier win a game when like there's like for skins on the wall? I don't think he can.
I don't know, dog.
It's gonna be an interesting fucking game next week for sure. I mean, it's Napier starts to play for his job here on out. Week in and week out, it's for his job. If he doesn't win this game, it's huge. Like to just be out physical in some of those plays too, where they were just running through Florida defenders, and I'm like, what is going on here? But hey,
Wild.
Cole said it. I don't think he picked it on our picks, but I know you said it. You were like, hey, USF, USF is dangerous. You'll need to watch out for him. And
Oh, dude, USF. I mean, that's just a team that you just don't want to play. I mean, I think they're gonna start getting that like ULL, like mid 2000s treatment when like ULL was like kind of balling and like no big SEC schools wanted to schedule them. They're like, nah, we're good, fam.
Kind of like Boise gets, where people are like, kind of. I'll say, like Boise doesn't get those big because it's these weird games where like Florida had everything to lose and nothing to gain. If they'd have won that game, it'd be like, who cares? That's what you should do.
To me, the most impressive part is that it was at Florida, which I mean, like you said, like it's a tough place to play. I mean, everybody says it, and they just don't care. That USF team just went in there, just dropped their nuts on the field and said, "Hey, it's our field now. What y'all doing?" It's just crazy, man. Look, hats off to them because that's a program defining win.
all right, my next question for y'all. What's going on at Georgia? What's up with Kirby's ball squad? I mean,
Dude, no,
they did
they
win the
just
game, but 28-6 against Austin P. This is usually one of the games where you see Georgia throw up 60 on somebody.
well, but it's weird because last year they did the same shit against Austin P. I'm pulling it up now. I'm pretty sure last year against Austin P. Maybe it wasn't them. No, it wasn't them. My bad. Ignore me.
I don't know.
Somebody last year though played with Austin P, and it ended up being the same way. Like it was just a close game. It's like maybe Austin P is just like not to be fucked with. I don't know, dude. But Kirby has this knack for doing this to me. He struggles with these shit schools, and then like the last 3 games of the season, he just has his team in perfect form, and they go into the playoffs and they make a run, or they
Mhm.
play for SEC championship. It's just crazy to me. I mean,
Well,
I don't know.
that Georgia game, I'm going to view through the same exact lens I viewed the LSU game through. Like just kind of a muddy slot fest. They got out with a win. I can remember being like tailgating early in the year at LSU and like people coming around going like, "Hey, the Citadel's up 10-7 against Alabama with 2 minutes left in the second quarter." And then Alabama would win. I don't know. It's like it feels like this happens a lot where like these week 2, week 3, week 4 games, these big time programs just kind of play with their food a little bit. And then you don't remember it when they get a big game and they play well. I don't know. Like Kirby, it's gonna happen for a year until I'm like Kirby's not the best coach in the country.
It was 2023. Austin P lost 30-13 to Tennessee. That was the game I was thinking of. 30-13. So I mean, similar margin of victory. I don't know, dude. Maybe the Governors are just good. Who knows? Maybe they're a powerhouse. Maybe they're the 12th seed. I don't know, dude. You
He
don't tell
said
me.
maybe they're a powerhouse. Hey, speaking of us getting back on the quarterback train, you know who else didn't look good in their game? Lenore Sellers has kind of been shaky. He's had one that big rushing touchdown. He had that one bomb touchdown, and now everyone's kind of like scratching their head about where he's at as well.
He's Anthony Richardson. That's all he is. He's Anthony Richardson. And guess what? I watched every play of that South Carolina Virginia Tech game. He's Anthony Richardson. He can do things physically that other humans can't do. And the highlights make you go like, "Oh my God." But if you watch every play, he also at times you're like, this guy's not he's not a good quarterback.
A quarterback.
He's an athlete. Like Lenore Sellers can go missing in games and then he'll pop up with like do a other human play. He's gonna be a top 5 pick in the draft. But he's volatile as fuck.
Yeah, as someone who suffered from a quarterback that should be probably a running back or a tight end or a receiver, and Jalen Milroe, I feel for South Carolina fans because I was one last year. I was pretty high on the North Sellers, and I think you're spot on with it. I think there's going to be times where you're like, this kid is the greatest football player ever, and there's other times where you're going to watch him for a whole half and be like, why is this kid playing quarterback? What are we doing here? I think that team's going to be more up and down than I thought. At least I'd probably say that most of us thought. I think a lot of people, including myself, expected them to kind of come out and just dominate for most of the year. But look, it all starts with Sellers, and when he has those down drives where they go, 2 incompletions and then a 3 and out quick, and then the defense on the field the whole game. That edge pressure is only going to take you so long. Take you so far. You're going to have to get some offensive push at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
He does feel very Jalen Milroe-esque, where when it's going good for him, it's the best player in the country. But when it starts to go south, it's going to be, what the fuck are we watching?
Well, and that's the thing that's so I call that the long term Jalen Milroe effect. Is like you go 3 and out. All right, defense goes on the field, 6-play drive, force a punt. You go 3 and out. All right, defense on the field, 6-7-play drive, then force a punt. Then you go 3 and out again. Now your defense is pretty gassed. So now your defense is probably giving up points on this drive. Assuming you're playing a decent opponent, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you can't run an entire offense through your quarterback, which I don't know if they can or not, I guess time will tell, you kind of put yourself in a bad spot. And that's what happened to Alabama a lot with Jalen Milroe. Is a lot of quick offensive possessions, like incompletion, and then defense goes out there and they're just winded. There's no way around it.
Yeah, absolutely. That being said, the reason I brought him up as well is he was one of the quarterbacks that somebody who's getting a lot of backlash in media because he's the new Skip Bayless. He's Skip Bayless 2.0, and that's Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark makes some of the most asinine takes there are, and then he comes back and apologizes a week later. Hands down, he's done it with everything that he's done. When RG3 put him in his locker after his comments, he came out of the locker and apologized for it. Let's talk about Ryan Clark. Ryan Clark talks about people that are generational talents. He tried to throw Arch under the bus. This dude's not a generational talent. He sat behind a 7th-round draft pick in Quinn Ewers. Okay, when were you drafted, Ryan Clark? Oh, wait, you weren't. That's right, you weren't drafted. What did you do? Oh, you played 13 years in the league. Congratulations. You got 1 Pro Bowl. You got carried to a Super Bowl by 2 of the best defensive players in NFL history in James Harrison and Troy Polamalu. You were a guy that just threw his body, sacrificed. Hey, yeah, maybe the reason you're taking these takes is because of the CTE you took because of the tackles you would try to make. Sorry, buddy. Your takes are fucking asinine. Completely asinine. You also said Underwood's a generational talent. He's going to come in. He's going to take over. He's going to do games. What did he do? He sucked it up. What is Sellers doing? Sucking it up. What is Lagway doing? Sucking it up. Like, the reason he wanted to throw Arch under the bus is because when he came to Austin and he wanted Arch to do the pivot, Arch turned it down. So he got Anthony Hill Jr. and Colin Simmons to do it instead. He's like a jealous ex-girlfriend. If you don't tell him something he likes, then he's going to try to go out you on media. He's going to be apologizing in the next few weeks. Guaranteed you'll see it coming up. Guaranteed. That's my take on him. How do y'all feel about the clown?
My issue with Ryan Clark is I'm not going to get into like his playing career and what it was and what it was not. He made a comment the other day where, which I can't remember. It's Trader. He's an NFL Network guy. Was on ESPN. The dude's actually really good, and he like tried to belittle him by going, "You didn't play the game." That's where I get in this. Where I go, that's the stupidest thing I ever fucking heard in my life. I can't stand when dudes go, "Well, I played, so I know more than you." It makes no sense to me. It makes no sense from a guy like Ryan Clark to be talking to a colleague at the same desk he's at to belittle him. And he always kind of has this "I'm greater than thou" thing, right? Ryan Clark started, I was a Ryan Clark guy a couple of years, about 5 years ago, right? And then he started going anti LSU. He started going, which was the initial thing. And then I started paying attention and going, like, he's kind of like not a great, like, he kind of treats people like shit. And he makes comments that make no sense. And he comes from this perspective of, like, I'm holier than thou, which is insane.
If it wasn't for ESPN, and before that, if it wasn't for Brandon Marshall starting the original podcast and ESPN then picking him up from that, Ryan Clark no one would know who he is. No one would remember him, and that is just facts. No one would remember him whatsoever. When you would look at that Super Bowl team, you wouldn't think, "Oh, Ryan Clark." You think James Harrison. You think Troy Polamalu. That's what you think.
Yeah. So my thing, first of all, I stopped worrying about Ryan Clark said a long time ago when he had Derrick Henry on his podcast and he tried to tell him that if they met in the hole, he would run him over. I was like, all right, like, come on, like, what are we doing here? Even his own partner is like, RC, what are we doing? I think he has a lot of CTE, and I kind of feel bad for him. But I think this is a bigger issue too. Is the phrase generational talent? I think is just thrown around way too much. Look, I don't agree with him saying Bryce Underwood's a generational talent, Arch isn't. I don't think you can say either is right now, personally. I think that's a whole bigger conversation in sports. I think we're so quick to be like, this is a generational player without seeing like enough from them. Like if you're telling me somebody's generational, like I better have like at least 2-3 years of film on them to be able to tell you, right? I think you're right, though, Pete. I think he'll backtrack again because that's what he's done in the past with all of his takes. Assuming Arch goes on to do well, right? I think if Arch does well, he'll backtrack and he'll be like, "See, I told y'all, blah, blah," and it'll just be the same shit over and over again. But I think at the end of the day, the dude's just trying to stay relevant, trying to keep clicks. You know, that's kind of my thing on it.
There's a couple of guys in media. Ryan Clark's one of them. Acho's one of them. That they're very articulate in how they speak, and they confuse the fact that they speak clearly with intelligence. So there's a couple of them that do this, and I have a tweet about it. I tweeted maybe last week. They say things in a way that sound very they're articulate. Like their thoughts come across very clearly. They're very easy to understand. And themselves and other people confuse it with intelligence when it just, a lot of times when you go back and listen, you go like, you said nothing of substance. There's a whole lot of like nonsensical bullshit, right? Like and that's like, to me, like him in a nutshell. I think there's multiple guys like this in the media, and I don't know. It sucks to watch. Like, I don't want I like ex-athletes that talk about ball, but I like the ones that like just give me a little perspective, right? Like, don't tell me, don't look across the desk and go, "Hey, you've made a career out of covering football. I'm going to basically call you a dumbass on national television because I played the game." Now, does this guy know what it feels like to meet somebody in the A-gap? No, talk about that. But he's made a career out of covering the fucking sport. That's all he does with his life, is cover the sport.
What's crazy is the whole argument, if I remember correctly, is I know what clip you're talking about. They were comparing CeeDee Lamb to AJ Brown, saying that CeeDee Lamb is a better receiver right now than AJ Brown because CeeDee had like 7 catches for like 100-something yards, and AJ Brown had like 1 catch for like 20 yards. Hey, buddy. So that was what it came down to, and it just kind of was what it was.
Yeah.
Sorry, had a visitor.
No, you're good.
But yeah. So anyway, so Ryan Clark was defending the AJ Brown side of it, and he was like, I mean, AJ Brown's clearly the better receiver. First of all, it's a dumb argument. Like, you're comparing from one game. But then when he was like, well, that's just the non-player in you. And I hate to do that on TV. I hate to have to do that on
No, you
live TV.
don't.
It's like, well, then don't. If you hate it so much, then don't, right?
You know what I would, you know what he should have did? I think it's the guy's name is that guy's actual name is Pete something or other. You know what he should have did? He should have
Figures.
said, "Well, he goes, this is what you know what's showing right now. This is showing your non-media background right now. You're sitting at this desk because you played the ball, not because you went to school to be a media personality. You carried a football that got you to where you are. I went to school to got where I in this seat.
Facts.
So
Facts.
so let's talk about it then. Like the dude's an
Ryan
idiot.
Clark
I
also
can't
has me
stand it.
blocked on Twitter. He has me blocked on Twitter because he said something like 2 years ago that I just replied, "You're a dumbass." I just called him a dumbass and he blocked me because it was something. Dude, his kid didn't go to LSU, and that really rubbed him the wrong way. So he started making outlandish takes. It might have been Jay Daniels where he was like, "Everybody's high on this kid. I don't think he's that great." Or this was like early in that run of when Jay Daniels that season, and he was like, "I still don't think he's that great. I'm still a Penix guy." And I was like, "You sound like a dumbass." And then, like you said, backtracking, he now is like, "Oh, Jay Daniels is like a son to me." Like he'll do that with Arch.
Like what?
He'll eventually get Arch on some type of media where he talks to him, and he'll be like, "Nobody's ever had your back like I have." Like,
which is also funny because he jumped and tried to throw Arch under the bus for not being a generational talent, and that he sat behind a seventh round Quinn Ewers. And last year he tweeted, or 2 years ago he tweeted, Arch is going to do nothing but develop and grow by sitting behind Quinn Ewers. These guys can sling the ball, like. And now you're saying, oh, he sat behind a seventh round player. He also made a statement that I laughed about because it shows you his lack of actual paying attention to college football. He's like, Caleb Downs or Caleb fucking OU's
William.
old quarterback. Caleb
William.
Williams. Caleb Williams made the 5-star Rattler leave. He stole his position, this and that. He stole his position because he got benched in the Red River shootout. And they put Caleb Williams in. Caleb Williams won that game. He didn't beat him out. He wasn't the starter to start the season. So what does that tell you? That doesn't tell you that, oh, now all of a sudden he's a generational talent because he gets subbed in a game. Like, no, dude.
Yeah. I think all I've learned in this conversation is that I'm upset that Buddha has Ryan Clark blocking him on Twitter, but I've like tried hard to get Hugh Freeze to block me, and he won't. He just won't do it. He loves me.
I have multiple people that have blocked me, and Ryan Clark's the only one I think I actually said something directly at. A couple other ones, like I've seen I'm blocked, and I'm like, I don't ever think I've ever engaged with your account. Like, I think
The only other person that's
Brandon Walker has me blocked, I think, because after like midway through the season, I think I tweeted out like Mississippi State is dog shit, and I'm blocked. And I don't remember ever having a direct interaction with him or a reply. I think he just came across it and went block him.
Yeah, the only person that's blocked me of note is, well, not even of note, Caleb Odom. He transferred from Bama to Ole Miss last year, and I messaged him and I said he was a scumbag piece of shit, and he replied back and said some choice words to me, and I said some choice words to him, and he blocked me. So I feel kind of bad. But of note, he has 0 catches and 0 targets all year. Just saying.
I got some Derek Carr fans blocked me.
That makes sense.
I think brothers blocked me. I think somebody else, like 2 or 3 family members blocked me. The goal is to get Derek himself to block me, and I just can't get tired running from the competition I was bringing to him.
Oh man. Oh shit. All right. I think that's it, man. I don't think we got anything else. We got, next week to look ahead to. We'll probably do our picks then, unless y'all want to dig into some of the games or mention some of the games before we close it out.
No, we're good. I mean, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good.
I think
That
end of the
works.
day, I think everybody knows that Alabama's back and we're going 11-1. So that's all I care about. I don't know what you clowns are doing. Y'all figure it out.
I'm still undefeated.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
This is true. Yep. We got some big games this week that'll be fun. So yeah, our picks will be a lot more interesting this week because we actually have better games to dig into. But hey, that's all we got for y'all this week. We'll catch y'all next week as always. Hook 'em.
Roll Tide, we're back.
12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. Y'all better listen up. This sports talk talking tough. So if you got a cup, go on and raise it up. I'll raise one with you as we talk about the sports. It's raining stats and rumors, let us give you the report. This is First 12 ounces. First 12 ounces, yeah. First 12 ounces.